All right, so now let's get into this TFR Labor Day special. We thought that it would be really cool to be able to go through the different ways of making money and just kind of compare them a little bit and see if we are in the right place. And if, I mean, network marketing is not for everybody. Being an employee is not for everybody. Being a business owner, a brick and mortar is not right for everybody. And so we really have to know the differences to be able to pick and choose correctly for ourselves, right? And so I'm super excited. Dondi spent a lot of time putting together this presentation for you guys. And so he's going to take it away, but I'm sure that I'll chime in here and there. So guys, here we go.
So on Labor Day, and I thought it was really applicable, a great idea, Marcy, thank you for the idea, to on Labor Day, talk about how do people make money in the workforce as business owners or as leveraged business owners. And I can speak personally from every one of these categories because I've done them all. I've only done the last one, the network marketing professional, one time, but I had a couple practices. I had other types of businesses where I was the business owner. And of course, most of us were employees. And it was my parents' generation, I think, was the last generation that really pushed to go to school, get good grades so you can go to college, get a good job, and retire with a good pension. Yes, I heard that from my parents, but not very many people my age that went to school, high school, college, when they were my age or in my age demographic, were able to capitalize on that. How do we know that? Because 95% of people now of retirement age are not financially capable of comfortably retiring. They either can retire and go get a part-time job, or they're retired and they're relying on family to pay for their budget. They're relying on other means. They're not able to do it. Less than 5% are able to do it on the merits of this previous model, that employment model. So we're going to talk about business ownership, brick and mortar businesses, including franchises and things like that, and then talking about network marketing as a profession. Now, I'll just tell you this, network marketing is not perfect, but it's better than every other option out there. And I would challenge you to find something that has a lower barrier of entry with a higher upside potential that has absolutely zero criteria other than you must be alive, you must be 18, and you must be able to sign your name. That's it. There is nothing else that has this much of an earning potential in such a short period of time with a built-in system that's willing to train you and teach you and coach you and show you everything than network marketing. So it's not perfect, but it's honestly better than everything else. So we're going to talk about some comparisons of money-making strategies. So let's just get into this and let's talk about trading time for money versus leverage. Now, what does that mean? You have 24 hours in a day, you have 7 days in a week, you have 30, 28, 30, or 31 days in a month, and you've got 365 days in a year. So whatever you do with your time, you are trading it for something, right? So there are other people, or there are people that can take an 8-hour workday and make millions. And there's other people that can take an 8-hour workday and whatever they make per hour times 8 hours. It just depends on the leverage that you're utilizing in that time where you're trading your time, your precious time, which you cannot get more of, for money. So let's talk about the options. First, we're going to talk about the one that is the most recognizable, the one that most people go into by default, and that is as an employee of a company or some type of business. So what are the options for pay as an employee? Well, they're hourly. In other words, you get paid a certain rate per hour. You can get your paychecks either weekly or biweekly if you are salaried, meaning you get paid a certain lump sum per month or per 2 weeks, whatever that is, or per week, whatever that is. The difference between the hourly rate, if you say you work 10 hours and you're making $10 per hour, that's a predictable $100. But if you're salaried and you're supposed to work 10 hours, but you end up working 40 hours, you're still only getting paid 10 hours. That's the drawback of salary. And then you have commissions that you can make. You can make an hourly rate plus commissions. You can make salary plus commissions. You can have incentives like trips and things of that nature. I know actually Marcy was able to go on a European trip with my cousin's wife, who in her job, working for American Express credit card, she won an incentive and got a trip for 2 to Europe, including France and UK, and was able to take Marcy, and I think just for the flights or something like that. It was just incredible. But then there's also bonuses, cash cash prizes and things like that. These are your pay options as an employee. But what is the pay based on as an employee? Well, it's based on schooling. The more, and most of the time, the more academic credentials you have, whether you've got an advanced degree, you've got a doctorate level degree, you've got a bachelor's, master's, whatever it is, the more education you have, traditionally speaking, the more money you will make, or the bigger the job and the bigger the income potential. Same with experience. If you're coming into something you've never done it before versus you've done it for 30 years, the experience will dictate you make more money per hour, because again, it's just trading time for money. The average employment contract is about 4 years or less in today's market. So what does that mean? Every 4 years, you're having to brush up and dust off your resume. It's not stable, is what I'm trying to say. This is the limitation where you go to school, you get good grades, so you can go to college, get a good job, and then retire with a pension. That's not nearly as common as it used to be, because people are changing their job every 4 years. There's a lot of predictable instability to it, especially what have we learned over the last 3 years? What are essential jobs and what are non-essential jobs? There was a lot of, and who decides? It's not the employees. The employees do not decide whether or not they are essential or not. Usually some other organization or some other three-letter organization is the ones that define that or decide that. And we see the problems with that. But it's also based on market conditions. It's based on the economy. So if the company you're working for, based on the economy and market conditions, is making a lot of money, then they will extend that down to you. But there's a lot of companies, especially in the last 3 years, historical companies that were open for 100 years or more, that are out of business now because market conditions and the economy dictated elsewhere. And then public purchasing trends. So what are people buying? There are such thing as trends, and there are such thing as fads. So you do not see any businesses that are successful selling fidget spinners anymore. It was a flash in the pan fad, but the trends are what dictate long-term spending. And as that's going to be very applicable when we talk about network marketing. And then lastly, your willingness to trade time for money. It's your hard-earned time, whether you go out and how much you're going to trade it for per hour. The more money per hour is going to be better in your case, but that's what people are going for.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do want to say something specifically on this willingness to trade time for money, because it's not really your choice. If you are an employee, you don't get to say when you're going to give your time. You get told when to be to work, when you can take a break, when you can go to lunch, when you can go home. And then on top of that, if you're sick, you have to call in, and a lot of times you have to have a doctor's note. But on top of that, if your child is sick, you have to call in and you have to take time off, which means you're not getting paid. And on top of that, big things that are happening with your kids, whether it's graduations or weddings or whatever it is, you have to ask for permission to be able to go and spend your time where you really want to spend it. And so that, I just wanted to really point those things out, that it's not only are you trading time for money, but you don't get to choose when that time occurs. It's up to your boss.
Yeah. Yeah. And when bad things happen and you want some PTO, some personal time off, and your boss says no, you're just out of luck. You can, you go home and call him or her some bad names or whatever, but you still got to show up to work. Otherwise your bills go unpaid and their collections coming after you, and that's not a good situation. So there are significant limitations to being an employee. And so let's talk about another option. So trading time for money versus leverage. If you want a little bit more leverage, or you want a little bit more per hour, then maybe business ownership is for you. But the reality is, and a lot of times it's the unforeseen reality that comes and slaps you in the face with business ownership. Business ownership is not all, rose-colored glasses and all the great things that you hear about. But what are the pay options for brick and mortar business? This also includes franchises. So you get paid in cash. Your customers are the ones paying you for your product or your service or both, or whatever it is that you have that you are giving to them as a product or service, and they can pay you with cash. They can pay you with credit cards. And if you're having a merchant account, you won't get paid as if it was cash, because they take the fees out of it. They take the transaction fees. They take the interest rates out of it. And then but you get less than what a cash paying patient would pay you. Or there's financing. Again, if you're a merchant, you have less fees, percentage rates, you get paid less, but it's the convenience for the purchaser to not either have to give you cash out of pocket or delay the payments. But guess who ends up paying for the for the convenience of the customer. You do. As the business owner, you pay with it by less income. So what are the pay, what is pay based on in brick and mortar business ownership? It's based on your customer and clientele influx. In other words, you have to have marketing costs. You have to have advertising costs, because if you get the keys to your new business and you open up the door and you just sit there and wait, if nobody knows you're open, you have no clients or customers. There is marketing required. You have to spend money to make money. And then customer retention, customer loyalty. Do they like your product and service? Is it a trend that is ongoing? Are they going to be coming back, and better yet, referring people? Income left over after taxes or after expenses. What kind of expenses? How about payroll? How about inventory? If you have a retail company, you buy all the inventory and then you put it on your shelves and then you mark it up. But you already have to buy that in advance unless somebody is willing to give you consignment. And that is certainly not popular nowadays. But it's the income left over after the fees that you pay, especially if you're a franchisee. Your willingness to sacrifice. You're going to be the first one there and you're going to be the last one to leave. And the worst part about it, you're going to be the last one that gets paid. Because your employees, if you have them, you have payroll, they're going to get paid before you do. Your employees always get paid before you do. Guess what they call a business that pays themselves first and doesn't pay their employees?
Out of business.
Short term, or out of business, or fraud, or in jail.
It's one of those
They're wearing
95%.
orange jumpsuits. You just don't do that. And so there's no sick days when you're a business ownership. Your employees call in sick, but guess who never calls in sick, even though you feel like crap? The owner of the business. Trust me, I remember that, and I do not miss that part of it. I wasn't sick very often, but I was always the first one there, and certainly always the last one to leave, and certainly always the last one to get paid. Now, there was some great upside to it, but those were certainly downsides. And then income after discounts for marketing, because you can have the, what do they call it? Groupon. You pay, have all these real specials to get people in, guaranteed. Most of the time, those
Flash
specials,
sales.
the flash sales, the discounts, the coupons, the owner is not making money. They are based on providing a good service, the retention of that customer or client, and the referral to someone else who's going to come in and pay full price. So these things all cost money, but that's why the 95% failure rate of all businesses fail. 95% of them fail within their first 5 years because of the things you see on the left in those bullet points, the limitations of that.
And you know what, and I want to say one thing about the employees aspect too. You actually become almost like a babysitter. You almost, I mean, because especially in this day and age, younger generations are not as responsible, at least I like to think, as we were when we were younger, or even now as adults. And so you are responsible for your business being open. And if they don't come to work, you have to work.
You got to do two
right?
jobs that day or more.
Yeah, exactly. And so instead of like on the first one being the employee and you giving up your time, now you're the one that is managing the time of someone else. So it can be stressful too.
Right.
Extra stress on top
And guess
of it.
who is inconvenienced in all of that? Your clients or
Yeah.
your customers. They don't like it. They may have sympathy for you if they know you and they've got a relationship, but otherwise they have very little, they're very impatient, and they probably won't come back if it's a first-time experience. First times are huge. You got great points.
Mhm.
So let's talk about another option. So network marketing professionals. Now, what are your pay options? Well, you can work spare time as a hobby and get paid off of that effort. You can work part-time, kind of give yourself a little side gig, or like my mom has her holiday money, which she doesn't even make holiday money anymore. It's not really that important to her. Full-time, you make a career out of it, or a career replacement, or you're perhaps working part-time, ultimately working toward full-time so you can buy your way out of your current career. Or big time, you're looking for wealth creation, and there is massive amounts of wealth to be had here. In fact, network marketing as a profession is the second highest paid profession out there, other than real estate, for the common person. And then the investment. You can build up a willable asset, or you can build up an asset to sell. We see people sell network marketing businesses all the time because it's about cash flow. The cash flow that you have in your time-tested business is worth money, and people will pay dearly for it, because especially if it's already a self-sufficient team and they've got leadership backed by leadership, and you don't have to be the one to come in and train everybody. If it's already built, it's a great investment. It's a solid investment.
Yeah, and one other pay option that's not on here is you can be an investor too.
Yeah.
If you are with a company that is publicly traded like LifeVantage is, you're able to invest in LifeVantage stock, and that can be an additional pay option for you. It's not something that you can get paid off of right away, but down the road, its potential is really great.
Great point. Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you. I forgot to put that in there.
That's what I'm here for.
So let's talk about, what is pay based on as a network marketing professional? Well, like I said before, you just have to be an adult, which means you're 18 and you have to be alive. Obviously, no X's in your eyes allowed. You must have a pulse, and you must be able to sign your name, but that's it. And also afford whatever pack. And a lot of companies like ours has very affordable packs to come in. There is no schooling necessary. They do not ask you.
Training.
There is no application that says what level of school. They don't even care if you ever step foot in an elementary, junior high, high school, college. It does not matter. It doesn't even matter if you can spell your own name, so long as you have somebody who can forge your name. Literally, it doesn't matter. There's no schooling necessary, and there is no experience necessary. This is the most level playing field of any profession, and there's no discrimination at all, except the one you put on yourself. But you must be willing to work. You must be willing to learn and be coachable and teachable. You must be willing to follow a system. If you want to be successful, you must be willing in the beginning to trade your time for money. And I will tell you this, in full transparency, you will put a lot more time in the beginning for a lot less money than you would if it were a regular job. However, once that starts to snowball, once you start to build a team, once you start to create leverage, you can literally take your foot off the gas, go into coast mode, and that replication, so long as there is leadership upon leadership upon leadership, will pay you well beyond. Now, why would we even say that? Because people have family members that get ill sometimes, like parents that need attention. They can take time away from their business to go take care of their parents and still get the paycheck. Now, it might go down a little bit if you're an amazing leader, but this is something that no other business has the ability to create that kind of leverage. You must also be willing to trade that time for money initially, because as it builds up, you can buy back that time and then spend it where you want to. And this is the cool thing about it. In a down economy, people want other ways of making money. Network marketing is an incredibly enticing opportunity for people in a down economy, because they're looking for other ways of making money. Well, flip that around. In a great economy, people have expendable money. They're looking for other ways of making money, and they are certainly looking for products to buy. So whether you have customers or consultants that you are focusing on, both options work well in a down economy and an up economy, and no other form of business can say that. That is how solid and stable network marketing is as a profession. So watch this video and feel the feels in this.
Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. When was the last time you were asked to use your imagination? As we grow up, life becomes ever more serious and literal. And the concept of imagination is often left in the past with our childhoods. Our lives become routine, and we slip into the comfort of daily monotony, eating the same breakfast, driving the same roads to work, and repeating the same conversations. The need for imagination dwindles. Harken back to simpler times when you were young and life was full of dreams and boundaries were undefined. Let your imagination run wild and see the world through an unfettered looking glass. There's something powerful, almost magical when you imagine. You can be anything you want to be. You can live anywhere you want to live. You can do anything you want to do. Imagine. Imagine success. Imagine an abundant life. Imagine your dream home. Imagine you in your dream job. Imagine the dream vacation for your family. Imagine reaching your full potential. Imagination is a key component of success. Many of the world's greatest athletes use imagination to visualize their course to the winner's podium. In similar fashion, great leaders of all types chart their course by imagining their end goal and the steps required to arrive at their maximum potential. Imagination is critical to progress. Imagine life better.
The world isn't closed, it's open to those. Fight for life the most and never let it go. Choices you made, all your mistakes, or a path that you lay to lead to a better place.
That is one of my all-time favorite videos. And obviously it's been a while to see the old logo there, but it really puts it in perspective what we have as an option to us when we are trading time for money. But now let's look at what network marketing is. And most people truly don't understand the power and, more importantly, the supremacy of network marketing and why. But let's take first a look at traditional business. And we have a customer. The customer in a traditional business buying products wants to spend as little as possible, and the manufacturer of the products wants to make as much profit as possible. The question then becomes, though, how does the product get from the manufacturer to the customer who wants to spend as little as possible? Well, it's obvious. There is a chain of command in which that product gets to the customer. First, it involves money. Money being spent by who? By someone, and we'll show you how that works. So the manufacturer has marketing and advertising expenses, because as I said previously, if nobody knows you have a product, you're not going to sell it. You have to do marketing, you have to do advertising. That costs the company or the manufacturer money. But now you have somebody who wants to buy your product. How do they get it? Well, they have to, from the manufacturing place, it has to be shipped. So there's now gas involved in that truck. There's gas in the forklift to take it out of the company into the truck on its way to where it's going. There's truck maintenance, there's vehicle insurance, there's handling, there's all kinds of additional costs that go along with it. And if it's a product made in China, which many products that we purchase are, there's also shipping from China that is involved in some of that cost, additional money. Well, once the product gets here, wherever it's coming from, whether it came from the manufacturer or overseas, it now goes to a distribution center to be stored. There's storage fees, there's handling, there's damage, because people that work in that distribution center take it from the truck, put it up on the shelf, and then when an order comes in, they take it off the shelf and put it in another truck, which requires more handling, more gas, more truck maintenance, and more vehicle insurance to get it to where you can go buy it at the store. But at the store, there's people that come in and they steal products. There's expired goods if it's perishable stuff. There's handling charges. So what all of that means to you, the customer, who wants to spend as little as possible, and to the manufacturer who wants to make as much money as possible, all these expenses are involved in getting that product from manufacturer to store for you to go buy it. Well, guess what it means to you? You end up spending more money, and the manufacturer ends up spending or getting less profit because they're having to spend this kind of money too. Well, on average, it's an additional 63%. In other words, for every dollar you spend on a product, 63 cents of that dollar comes from costs incurred for you to get that product. Imagine if none of that was available, how much money you could save as the consumer. Well, that right there is the traditional business model, from manufacturer to the store, and you go buy it. All these additional things require additional cost from you. Well, let's look at a better way. There is a way better way, but we still have the two same characters. We still have a customer who wants to spend as little as possible, and we still have a manufacturer that wants to make as much profit as possible, right? That's just called sales. That's called capitalism. That's called business. But we now have a third party. We have an independent distributor or consultant who knows the customer, who knows the manufacturer and what products they have, and just says, hey, look, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, I know this company that makes this great product or has this great business opportunity. You should take a look at it. And so when the customer sees it, they like the product, they pay the manufacturer directly. There is no all these other costs added in. There's no middle person. So the customer now gets to pay less because they're paying directly to the manufacturer. Well, guess what? The manufacturer just ships it directly to the customer and also sends a commission to the distributor or consultant as a thank you. Remember that additional 63%? Well, a lot of it is not having to be spent here. And so that's where the commission comes from, all the other expenses that are having to be made. We now have a happy consultant, we have a happy customer, we have a happy company, and with the extra money that that company saves, they can do research and development. They can make new products out there, do research and for new product development. They can have higher quality products because they have more money to devote to them, and they have improved efficiency on getting those products from manufacturer to the customer. That is all beneficial for the company. But also, what are the benefits to the customer? You get a better value. You get higher quality products from customers or from manufacturers that don't have to pay all those shipping costs and all those handling fees. You get higher quality products, and it promotes repeat business. Remember that patient or customer retention, very, very important. And ultimately, the consultant makes money, and it creates this wonderful relationship. So let me just put this in perspective for you. When we look at how people make money, trading time for money, or they go into business and they trade time for more money, more time for more money, and they're the first person there, the last person to leave, they're married to their business more than they're married to their spouse. A lot of that comes with some ups and some downs and a different way of looking at things. Well, let me just ask you this. Based on what you now know about the network marketing business model and what you now know about our company, how amazing our company is, think about this. If you had knowing what you know about Nike and about Apple and Google and Microsoft and Facebook and McDonald's, whether you eat their food, you have an account on that social media platform, you use Google to look up stuff, or you've got some other form of tennis shoe on your foot and you don't even use an Apple or Microsoft computer, you use a Dell or something, it doesn't matter. I don't care whether you consume these products, believe in these products, endorse these products, but if you had the ability to be among the first people to invest in any of those companies, whether you like their products, don't like their products, or could care less, if you, knowing what you know now, if you had the ability to be first to invest in any of those companies on the traditional business side, would you do it? Or let's look at the network marketing side. Amway, Avon, Tupperware, Herbalife, Nu Skin, all household names, all pioneer, all billion-dollar companies, all had a major, major impact in the opportunity that we call the LifeVantage opportunity, because all those companies right there paved the way for us. We have a very significant debt of gratitude for the Amways, the Avons, the Tupperwares, the Herbalifes, the Nu Skin, whether we like their products, could care less about their products, or we defend those companies when someone says, are you like this company? Of course we are. But here's the deal. Knowing what you know about the state of the world right now, there are more people on their knees praying for ways to be healthier than they are right now, with affordable products that literally turn on their immune system, not theoretically, not come with dangers attached to them, but literally turn on their immune systems, literally make them look better, before and after pictures, literally allow all the things that our products do to do, scientifically proven, not just hearsay or conjecture, and literally allows you to have a home-based business opportunity, which there's two trends that I know will never, ever, ever go away. The desire to be healthier and the desire to make money. Those two trends will never go out of fashion. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. If somebody asks you, would you like to have more money than you do right now? I don't know anybody that would say no. And I don't care how good or bad your health is. If somebody says, would you like to have better health than you do right now? I don't know anybody that would say no, ever. And they won't 5 years from now, 20 years from now, 500 years from now. Those answers, would you like better health or better finances, are still going to be yes and yes. So the two most predictable trends that people operate within are better health and better finances. And guess what? We deal with both of those. We are hope brokers in both of those. And when I talk about it, I get emotional, I get choked up, because there are people praying for the answers that you know right now. And someday we will add LifeVantage to the list down there. So if you, knowing what the world knows about these companies that they don't yet know about LifeVantage, you may be the reason they don't yet know it. And when they do, they will thank you eternally, because it changed their life. Because there was a firefighter in Tucson by the name of Blue Elam. I didn't know him, but he changed my life forever. And I will be eternally grateful for the phone call I received by him. And it changed my entire, without that phone call, I never would have met this lady next to me, the most amazing human being ever. I know that for a fact. So everything happens for a reason. So that perspective is knowing what you know about the state of the world, the state of the desires of people, and what you know about LifeVantage. Will you please, please invite people to look at the business opportunity that we have? Because is it perfect? No. But it's better than every single option out there. And I challenge you to find an option better than LifeVantage, because if you can, we should all jump ship, because I don't know that there's one out there. I've never seen it yet.